Okay, here we go. So those of you at home, number one, wrong answers to 5 plus 2 over 5 plus 7 is people try to cancel the 5s or make those 5s say they cancel out to a 1. When in reality, so that's how we got these bad answers of, whatever that says, 2 7ths and 3 8ths. But we already know that what we really ought to do is add those together first. Whereas when I look at 10 over 35, I could rewrite that 10 as 5 times 2 and 5 times 7, and I am allowed to cancel there because it's being multiplied instead of being added or subtracted. So the rules are we cannot cancel anything attached to a plus or a minus sign, but we can cancel out factors or things that are written as a multiplication problem. Okay, now, can I tell you guys one more thing real quick? And this goes to everybody, those of you in the classroom. Those of you at home, I'm assuming you needed to pause and rewind that once or twice, but I forgot to hit record at the beginning. You'll get over it. Okay. We're all on the same page again, right? Okay. Now, you guys will not make the mistake of trying to cancel out 5 plus 2 over 5 plus 7. Do you know where you will make that mistake? When I write it out as x plus 2 over x plus 7. That's when kids tend to try to mess that up. Or if I give you, say, x squared plus x plus 2 and x squared minus 3x, people will try to cancel just there. Okay, and those x squareds are being attached to a plus or minus sign. And when you do that, that's when Miss Meister cries. That's a tear. Everybody good? So, if we can only cancel factors, perhaps it would be appropriate to review how to factor using polysmelt. Is everybody okay with this idea? Yeah. All right, so for this very first question, that's not what I wanted to do. For this very first question, I am trying to trick you. You're welcome. I figure you guys would rather be tricked now than later. Is that fair?
You tricked me because I put it in there and I went, this isn't right. This doesn't make sense.
Well, then I didn't trick you because you caught it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Okay? I'm even going to tell you right now how to catch it. So, first things first. Let's pretend Miss Meister's an idiot, which actually probably isn't a false assumption, depending on the context. Okay?
Yeah, definitely not.
I'm not very good at calculators. Can somebody remind me? How do I find polysmelt so that I can factor? What button do I press?
The apps button.
The apps button. For those of you who can't find the apps button, it's right here next to the math button. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apps. And which one do I want to pick again?
9. 8.
For some of you, it's 9.
8 for you.
It's 8 for me. For some of you, it might be 2. Okay, you want to pick the one that says polysmelt, which is spelled in an abbreviated form. It's number 8 for me. Is everybody in the same place? Cool. Go ahead and hit enter. Which one of these operations do I want to pick? The first one, the poly root finder.
2.
The order of this expression is 2. Why is it 2?
Because the square is signed.
Okay. The order of an expression is its highest exponent. So I'm going to go and highlight 2. And then I'm going to hit next, which is above the graph button. From here, you have 2 possible things that your calculator might show you. It might look like mine, or it might look like Beck's. They're both the same thing. If your calculator looks like this, that A2, A1, A0, those are just your coefficients. Okay? If yours looks like mine, you just,
What if it looks like not either?
Isn't yours like mine's the same? Yeah. Okay.
and you're just typing in the expression.
No, it's in there.
Well, we haven't done the answer
Yeah, we're
yet.
not there yet.
Okay. Then we hit yes.
Can I do that? Can I
Sure.
do that real quick?
Sure.
Thanks.
Then we hit the solve button, which, guys, if I try to hit solve by touching the screen, it's not going to work. We just hit the button right underneath it. And I got x equals 2 and x equals 3. Are we still okay? What are my factors if x equals 2 and x equals 3? What factor goes with x equals 2? Here's a hint. Factors look like this. What is it? X minus 2. What factor goes with x equals 3? X minus 3. Welcome to the number one wrong answer to this question. I told you I was trying to trick you. Why isn't this a good answer?
It's not simplified.
Factoring is the undistributed property. Is everybody with me? So when I multiply these two terms, shouldn't I end up with this? You guys see what I'm saying here? And when I multiply the 2 and the 3, shouldn't I end up with 12? And I don't. Is everybody with me? What is x times x? If I just distributed my answer right now, I would get x squared. And what about negative 2 times negative 3? I would get 6. So not 2x squared and not positive 12. Oh.
So it's x squared plus 6.
No.
You need to drop the 2 down.
Polysmelt is amazing, y'all. It's so good, but it's not great. It can only tell us factors that have x's in them. And if you look, there's a 2. This is equivalent to 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. There's a common factor here. Okay? And Polysmelt won't tell me that. So the way we can test for that is at the end, we need to check, hey, do these two pieces get me back here? And do these two pieces get me back here? And the answer is no, they're missing a 2. And it's the same factor that they're both missing, which is a huge hint.
And that's how I figured it out, because when I put it in Polysmelt the way she had it up there, and it came up with 2 and 3, and I multiplied, I'm like, no, that's not right. And then all of a sudden I looked up and saw that there was a common factor. So, good check.
Cool? All right, next way I might try and trick you, let's look at another one. So, if I need to change my coefficients, I hit the, oh, you can't see my thingy anymore. Whoa. Hey, guys. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. We need to change the coefficients. I don't know how that happened. That is easily.
You dropped your pencil.
Yeah. So to change the coefficients, we're just going to hit the button underneath where it says coefficient. And we're going to put in 5, negative 17, negative 12. There's the same number twice. How about that? All right, I go ahead and hit solve. And my two roots or solutions or whatever we want to call them are x equals negative 3/5, x equals 4.
Yeah,
Okay. What does that make my factors? What factor goes with x equals 4? Let's start with the easier one. X minus 4. What factor goes with x equals negative 3/5? It is 5x plus 3. Are we still comfortable with what's going on here? All right, I would like you guys to do this one. And we'll check our answers together. Give this one a shot. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to get you on this one in more ways than one. You're welcome. I need collateral. Maybe you can have one.
There's one over here. Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
Is there a way to change, like, getting a decimal or something?
Just keep that zero.
So,
Keep it at zero.
Why do you have 4?
I don't know, I put
You only
three
need-
because
Oh, okay.
How do you do it?
you don't want to remember.
No, but I already found the mistake, so I did it.
Oh, gosh. Maybe. You got it from my phone. But I don't know, because always supposed to keep that or something.
So what happened when you put those numbers in?
all right, how we doing?
Not good.
Put a 0?
No.
So there's an invisible 0 on the end here.
Yeah, see what happens when you do select.
Yeah, so I was right.
Let's see.
And we should have, well, you guys tell me, what are you getting? X equals 0 is one of them. X equals
4/3.
-4/3, perfect. And X equals positive 1/2.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that make my factors?
3x plus 4, and then
3x plus 4,
2x minus 1.
2x minus 1. Everybody good? Let's check this. Hold on. If that is correct, the 3x and the 2x should get us to 18x cubed, which is slightly bothersome to me. Now, the first thing I want to point out is how many different solutions did we get? We should have gotten 1, 2, 3 solutions. We should have had an x equals 0, yes? And if that's the case, that's because we had a common factor of x. So now I have x times 3x times 2x, but that still doesn't get me to 18x cubed. Yes?
Put a 3 there.
Is there a common factor of 3? And if that's the case, I have 3x, 4, and -1. Does that get me to that -12x? It sure does. Okay? So if I'm going to try and trick you, no, guys. I am going to try and trick you. This is how it's going to happen. Okay? Because I don't want you to fixate on polysmelt being this end-all, be-all thing. It helps us get to the answer. It does not give us the answer. We still need to use these things a little bit first. Your calculator is only as smart as the person using it. Everybody understand what I'm saying there? All right, next. Really what today is supposed to be about is adding and subtracting fractions. I know fractions are everybody's favorite. Don't worry, every single thing in this unit will include algebraic fractions. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's not really in my control. If I had to pick a unit to throw out, this would definitely be on the list. It's not really in my hands. Now, guys, what is 1/5 plus 3/5?
4/5.
Is everybody comfortable with 4/5? Is 4/5 the right answer? What about 7/8 minus 3/8? 4/8. And then when we see that 4/8, we might try to simplify it by saying, hey, The numerator and the denominator have the same, can be written as 4 times 1. So the top and the bottom both have a common factor that we can cancel out. So if I asked you guys to describe in words how we got to 4/5 and 4/8, what would you say?
You would add the numerator.
So add or subtract the numerator.
Yeah. As long as the denominator is the same, it's all good.
And keep the denominator the same.
And if not, you have to do some
So
multiplication type stuff.
that's how we add fractions. We add or subtract the tops, and then we just keep that denominator the same. Because right now, all of these ones have the same denominator, yeah? So what would that mean for this question? Let's see. We would add together the tops, but keep the denominator the same. Same exact principle. It just looks messier. It's not messier. It just looks messier. Now, can we simplify that?
Yeah.
How does it simplify?
6x squared.
Ah,
Oh.
because it's a plus sign, we don't need to distribute. Because we're adding, yeah? We can just combine like terms.
6x. Oh my gosh, I keep doing it. 5x.
5x plus
So 10.
10 over,
X plus
huh. What do we think? Is this okay? And you might want to turn the page back for a second. Trust me on this one. Is this what you got? Yeah, it's not done. Can you guys believe it's not done?
Absolutely not.
Mrs. Urich, did I catch you on this?
No, I got it.
It's not done.
I know it's not done.
Ooh, look at you.
I even knew it wasn't done.
Yeah, what's the answer?
I don't know the answer, but I did not expect to be done whenever we got that answer.
That is a great explanation. I'm truly enthralled.
I'm
Does anybody have any ideas?
I'm guessing, yes.
All right, let's just. I'm gonna throw some ideas out.
Let's just-
I love the idea. Let's throw some ideas
I'm
out
gonna throw
there.
some ideas out.
Go ahead.
Multiply the 2 or
How'd
something.
you get that?
Steven's like, I'm gonna throw some ideas out. Jeffrey starts talking.
He was
Throw out one idea, Steven.
You can. Could you divide the 10 by 2 and get 5 on top?
Div-
Could you do that?
I love your answer. I hate
How I said it.
how you said it. Yeah, you said it.
Can you find a common factor?
Oh, wait a minute. If we have common factors in the numerator and the denominator, we can cancel them out. So here's what we need to do. Let's factor the numerator. Does the 5x plus 10 have a common factor? Or something go into both of those that we could undistribute? What goes into both 5x and into 10? 5. So couldn't we rewrite 5x plus 10 as 5 times x plus 2? Could we do that? And then on the bottom, we would have x plus 2. So wait a minute. If we do that, don't we have the same thing on top and on bottom? Same factors? See, this x plus 2 is not being added or subtracted to anything, so this whole thing just works out to be 5.
I guessed it.
So you were kind of there, but your reasoning process was a little bit...
That's why I said.
It was a little bit,
I have a solid answer.
All right.
A for effort.
All right. You guys ready for it?
Grazie.
Can I tell you guys the number one wrong answer to the next question? This is that Miss Meister cries when she sees it. You ready? Ian, you want to check this one? This is my sad face answer. You ready? 3x plus 2 over x plus 3. That one makes me really, really sad.
Very sad or just sad?
Pretty sad.
But
to the point of like crying or?
Yeah, probably. It depends on how many of you put that wrong answer, but yeah, it might make me cry.
Like scared.
Huh. What's going on? Yeah.
We subtract a negative, you add.
Remember, essentially what we're doing is we're taking the numerator of the first one minus the numerator of the second one. And then what happens with that is I have to distribute that minus sign. So that's really negative 2x plus 1 on the top. And again, guys, I don't want to say that I'm going to trick you, but if you want to know how I'm going to try, that's how. And the way we avoid that is taking our time, being very intentional, writing out our steps so we can see it. Okay? So, I'd call that 3x plus 4 over x plus 3. Does the top have any common factors? No, so there's nothing else I can do with this.
That's what I got.
We doing okay?
Yep.
All right. We ready? So every single question on the previous page, the denominators matched each other. What do we do when they don't match each other?
Find the common denominator, or like multiply.
We do some stuff.
Yeah, some stuff.
Here's what I'm going to say. We make them match. I said make them math, guys. Did you know there's a C in the word match?
Match.com.
All right. Now, my recommendation to you guys is to think through what is the least common denominator, meaning the smallest number that both denominators go into evenly. So what is the least common denominator of 9 and 5? 45. And how'd you get that 45? Really, you just did 9 times 5. Okay? So I like to think about it as, first of all, what is that least common denominator? And then I go through what does it need? Okay? What does a 9 need to become 45? It needs a 5. So I'm going to multiply the 9 by 5. Now, this is a really important step. It's really important to Miss Mice so that you understand this. We are not multiplying by 5. In fact, we cannot multiply by 5, because if I multiply by 5, I'm changing the value of that fraction. I want it to have the same value. I just want to represent it differently. It's like $1 versus 4 quarters. Two different representations of the same amount of money. So what number do I multiply by so that something does not change value? What times 3 also equals 3? 4 times 3 is 12.
1.
Oh, did he say 1 and I just misheard him?
Yeah.
So is 1 times 3 equal to 3? What about what times 8 equals 8?
8. 1 times 8, sorry.
1, right? Is everybody with me? I need to multiply by 1, which means I'm going to multiply by 5 over 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top to keep my fraction balanced and equal in value. Oh, so now I get 5 over 45. Sweet. Plus. What does the 5 need to become a 45? It needs a 9. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Now, can I add my two fractions? And a reminder, I add fractions by adding together the top number and leaving the bottom, the denominator, the same. See, this isn't bad, right?
I'm waiting for you to say that's the number one wrong answer.
That's the right answer. Okay. Guys, what is the least common denominator of 8 and 16? Here's a hint. It is not 8 times 16.
16.
It is just 16. Does 8 go into 16?
Yes.
Yeah. So what does the 8 need to become a 16? It needs a 2. So now I have 14 over 16 minus 3 over 16. I'm sure that has an answer. And can I simplify 11 over 16? No, so it's done. All right. So how could I make it worse? I could put letters. All right. So now, I'm just going to breathe for a second. Okay? We can all breathe for a second, right? What is my least common denominator? It is not x plus 10. It's not 10.
Plus 7x plus 10.
X squared plus 7x plus 10 is correct, but we're not gonna multiply it. We're just gonna leave it as x plus 5 and x plus 2. Because when you think about at the end, we look to see if we can cancel, like simplify, and then we'd have to refactor it anyway. Do you get what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I was doing the same for the numerator though.
We do it in the numerator, we don't do it in the denominator. Like, it's not that you're wrong, Ian, but you know how I was like, oh, can we cancel anything at the end? You're just gonna have to rewrite it as x squared plus, as x plus 2, x plus 5 anyway. Yeah. All right. Is everybody good? That, see, here's the problem with saying it's 10 or x plus 10. Those aren't factors. This 5 is not one of the factors. It is whatever x is plus 5. It's attached to a plus sign. It is not a factor. Do you guys see what I'm saying now? When we have to be really conscious of, if it's attached to a plus or a minus sign, it's different than if it's not attached to a plus or a minus sign. Right? The nice thing is, you just write out each of the factors. Now, what does this first fraction need? What does this denominator need so it has a common denominator? It has an x plus 5. It also needs an...
I don't think we're awake yet, I guess.
Guess not. They're in that like post-lunch food coma.
And break, getting back from break.
But how many of you guys woke up before 10 o'clock over break? Like on average?
Actually, I did. I woke up at 9:30, like maybe like 3 days.
How many of you guys woke up before 11 o'clock on average over break? So you got like somewhere between 10 and 11 was your jam?
I had to be up at 5 a.m. one day. It was terrible.
The only time I woke up before 11 was on the day before New Year's, and I woke up at 7 in the morning, and then I couldn't sleep that night, so I ended up staying up like 40 hours.
Yeah, it's not good.
On New Year's, so I had to see the ball drop at the party.
Interesting.
I woke up at, every day I woke up at 9 and fell asleep, and fell asleep till 12.
Hey, I had fishing the next morning, so I had to be up 5 a.m.
That's good for you.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
I was in Naples.
Oh, nice.
All right. All right, y'all. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
My denominators need to have the factors of both denominators. Okay? So it needs to have an x plus 2 and an x plus 5. This one has an x plus 5. It needs an x plus 2. Okay? This one has an x plus 2, and it needs an x plus 5. Now, this means my answer, well, my denominator of my answer is going to be x plus 2 and x plus 5. My numerator is going to be the result of x plus 2 times 3x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5 times x plus 5. And I think that is where we will pick up tomorrow because we don't have time to get it done.